Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mithil's Pods. Now, this one's a special one. I've brought along someone who I think is gonna add some value to you guys. His name is Abhijeet, and he is an AI developer. Now, we all know what the future of AI is gonna be and how important it is gonna be in our lives, especially our generation. So, if you're someone who's interested in development or who's planning to pursue a career in the computer science field, I think this one's going to be really interesting. You guys should watch this till the end. And even if you're not someone who's interested in any of this coding or AI development, we spoke a lot about productivity hacks in general and sort of the importance of being productive, how to be productive. I think you guys would find that pretty useful as well. Now, throughout this episode, I must say that there are slight background disturbances for which I apologize in advance. It will be taken care of in the future, don't worry. And yeah, lots of exciting stuff to come in the future. I want to cover a lot of genres, so I hope you guys stay tuned for all that. This guy is really good at what he does. I've noticed that throughout the conversation, and it was really interesting to sort of pick his brains and see what I could learn from his personality, because I found that he's someone who's genuinely very passionate about what he does and who isn't really there for the sake of being successful. He wants to add meaning to his work, which I think is very rare to find these days in people. So, yeah, a great conversation. Hopefully, you guys enjoy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. I just want to say again, thank you for coming.
I'm glad to be here.
And okay, so there's two reasons why I was like very interested to do this podcast. Right? Number one is I think you genuinely have a lot of passion for what you do, and I don't really find that in a lot of people nowadays.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that these ultra successful people, they love what they do a little more than everyone else. And I think I find that characteristic in you a little bit. So I think it'll be nice to sort of extract that information out of you. And the second reason is you have a beautiful personality. You're really humble and yeah, we spent some good time together. We were in the same class. We spent some good time together and yeah.
9 to 10. Sure.
Thanks for taking your time.
Yeah.
What exactly do you do? What is? Give me like a one-word name. That's what you do. Can I call it web development? You said that's not right.
No, web development is not the right thing. I actually make AI models, and I develop like other applications using Python. It's mainly like back-end stuff. It's not front-end development.
So if there was like a one-word thing, like a term that I could use for the rest of the podcast, if someone asks me what you do, what do I say?
Just in making AI models or creating AI models.
What exactly is an AI model?
I mean, it's something that can do tasks on its own. It learns things on its own, like based on certain features and stuff like that. So, what exactly happens in an AI model is it just extracts certain patterns and say data, whatever data you feed. It can be images or text or something like that, and it just extracts certain patterns, uses it to learn and stuff like that. And based on that, it just makes predictions. And yeah, that's pretty much an AI model.
Explain to me like you explained to a 5-year-old why this is a lucrative thing or why someone should get into this.
Okay, first thing, everyone likes automation. Like I gave you the example like much before this about libraries. You know how people used to search for information in libraries before, and then Google search came, and now it's just like at the tip of everyone's fingers. Everyone likes it. Similar thing with AI. Like everything gets much easier. You can do a bunch of tasks with it easier, like say video editing and stuff like that over here as well. It gets much easier with AI tools. I'm pretty sure you might be using the AI tools as well, right? Yeah. So that's pretty much the essence of it. There's nothing more to that.
And when I hear the term AI tools, it looks like it's a very complicated thing to develop. It looks like a very hard thing to create. Is it really that hard?
Actually, no. It's something I can probably tell like a sixth grader or fifth grader do as well. And I've actually seen some fifth grade and sixth graders do some stuff like this.
Yeah. I mean, is it like
I've always had this question when I was young. I never got into this coding web development phase because I genuinely don't like sort of staring at computer screens for too long. I think that it's too stressful in my head. I don't think I have the patience to do it as well. I think when you pick up something like this, you need certain characteristics, and one that is patience. You agree? I think perseverance, patience, dedication. Like I need with most things, I think can you just name a few characteristics that are important if you want to pick up this? Yes.
You need a lot of logical reasoning and stuff like that. You need to be able to break down a big problem into small problems. That's very important. And patience, like you said, patience. If you don't have patience, this is not for you. Like you will see yourself fail a bunch of times. You will get wrong errors a bunch of times, and sometimes it can be frustrating. And the worst of all is you got to realize sometimes like you need to know how to take breaks and stuff like that. It might seem like you want to keep on doing the code or whatever, but at least that's the case with me. You got to realize you have to take some breaks because at certain points, even for the basic, even to solve basic problems, you take 2 hours, 3 hours, and after you solve it, you're just like, oh my god, I could have done it so easily, and that kind of builds up into frustration. You got to avoid that.
That happens with a lot of things, like a lot of things that you going to put your mind into something so much, and then when you take a step back and take some time off, you realize that wasn't that hard in the first place.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot, especially with studies as well. Yeah, a lot of things that I think that technique helps with.
Yeah. But those are pretty much the same thing. Logical reasoning and patience. Those are like the main stuff that you want to build.
And I want to ask you like it's a very weird thing, but let's say there's someone who's watching this and who's young, who's 13, 14,
Yeah.
and who's very ambitious, who wants to do something different, wants to do something out of the norm, except studying, he wants to be productive. Can you sort of market, can you sort of convince him why he should get into building AI models and stuff like this? What are the benefits of it? Like why someone should do it?
Okay. First thing, I'll say something that a lot of people want. Like even if it's someone who's aspiring to do some great things, they want to get publicity. They want to get hired by companies first, or maybe get the attention of companies. Now the first thing you want to do if you want to get attention of companies is build some stuff that other people are not doing before. So if you're looking at the school syllabus and stuff like that, everyone goes to school, right? And it's not something special. They don't teach something out of the box. Okay, I'll give you an example of my own AI learning. The stuff that I learned in AI, I actually did not do that in school. And in school, I barely even paid any attention. I was done with like 12th grade syllabus and 11th grade. Basically, what I did was I attended some boot camps online. So I kind of went out of my way to explore and stuff like that. You have to
do these boot camps?
nothing. They just teach you about. They go a bit in depth. So okay, fine. In school, for example, you have AI as a subject, and they teach you briefly about what AI is and how to develop it. In 12th grade, at least, they teach you how to develop it, right? In these boot camps, they deep dive into specific domains. Like you have computer vision, you have natural language processing, you have data science. I mean, data science is not exactly a domain, but okay, yeah, sure, we will count that. They deep dive into each part. They teach you specific stuff about each part. For example, in let's say computer vision, they teach you about convolutional neural networks. You don't even hear that term. Convolutional neural networks. CNN.
Okay.
Just remember that CNN. You haven't even heard of that term, right? Like even you were just like, what is that?
That's too long.
Exactly. So that's the kind of stuff. If you go out of the box to learn that kind of, and gain that knowledge and all of that, right? Companies will look at you and go like, okay, fine. This guy has potential. Obviously, you have to build something in that, and you have to show them that, if I hire this guy, or if we work with this guy, or if we fund this guy, anything, we will get some benefit. You have to show them why they will benefit out of what you do. Yeah, exactly. You can add value if you're good at all this stuff. If you go out of the box to try and learn all of these new technologies, right? You can kind of place yourself ahead of the curve. If you do that,
these boot camps help a lot in doing that.
Yeah. Not necessarily boot camps. Okay, you can even go on like boot camps. I attended only 2 boot camps. they gave me some of my AI knowledge. I can go online, maybe see some lectures. I can go to YouTube, see some playlists and stuff like that. Anything. If you really feel like you have some interest in a field, if you want to explore more, the internet's enough. Like you can just keep on exploring.
A lot of people say this, a lot of people say that you don't really need to pay money out of it. Like, I've heard a lot of people say YouTube as a resource is more than enough to upskill yourself to a level where you can be a professional in anything.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That actually might be true, but you also need to know where you need to, where to get the information from.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And second thing, see, whenever you get information from YouTube and stuff like that, it's not certified. Like you're not a certified professional or anything. Again, in perspective of companies and stuff like that, you generally want to show them that you're certified in something. You have a degree or something like that. That's the only reason. So that's why companies look at degrees, and that's why college is also important. It's not like it's not, but you can learn a lot outside college. I've asked a few people from BITS Pilani and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will know BITS Pilani, right? Even they said in college you may not learn as much. You can learn whatever you learn in college. You can learn on the internet and stuff like that.
So I think the benefit of a college is that it gives you a stepping stone. It gives you a network of people. Correct me if I'm wrong. It gives you a network of people. It gives you a stepping stone and lays the foundation for you to then upskill yourself. I think getting a good college is not the end goal. I think being successful is the end goal, and getting into a good college provides a boost to that.
Yeah, that's kind of correct. Network, yes, network's an important part in college.
You talk about networking. I mean, the last time I spoke to you, you said that I asked you how much money you make, right? And you said, I don't really make a lot of money, but I make a lot of networking. I meet a lot of people, and that's more important. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Okay, for what exactly do you want me to elaborate? Like how you network, or like what's the importance
Yeah,
of
of course.
networking?
Like, what is the importance of network? I mean, what is networking? Can you define?
You basically just meet a few people. It's pretty much making friends. Like that's networking. Yeah. You learn about each other. You learn about what they do, and you kind of become maybe close or
Where is the
whatever.
best place to
Best place, there's no best place as such to network. It again depends from place to place. You could maybe go on Reddit or no, Quora is a bit too old school, but yeah, like Reddit is there. It's a nice place to network. GitHub is more
What is
CS.
GitHub?
It's have you heard of open source development?
No.
Okay, open source development is basically where a bunch of random strangers come together to collaborate on a certain project. And it's not, this is something that companies use as well. I'm talking Microsoft, Intel, and all of that. They use open source development for certain projects, right? I mean, they may not be like the big ones, but for small stuff, they use open source development. Anyway, GitHub is like the place that's known for open source development. So all the projects you see there, anyone can publicly view it, edit it, and whatever. Of course, you can't edit the code directly. You can suggest edits, and if the owner of that certain project is okay with it, then
So as a group, you basically build projects together.
yeah, and that's a sort of way of networking as well.
So that seems like a very good way to network.
Yeah.
especially in this space.
Actually, GitHub is great. There's GitHub, there's LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like
LinkedIn is I think everyone.
exactly everyone knows about LinkedIn. But GitHub is a really good place if you want to network with a lot of people. Of course, the thing is, the problem with GitHub is you need to be able to good with. You need to be good with what you do, like in CS, right? You can't randomly talk to strangers out of the blue and kind of network with them. You need to build something, and then once you build something, they'll realize that this guy is interested. And if you make, say, an edit, other people come and tell you why that edit wasn't good. Something like that. Yeah. It might not necessarily happen, but yeah.
So there's like an open feedback platform,
Yeah.
and there's like so
That's no, I mean, in GitHub, you might not necessarily get feedback, but it's pretty decent. It's mainly for, open source contribution, not networking, but you could network over there.
You consider yourself in You consider yourself in
No.
No. Okay, tell me.
Because I not really study too much, except for 12th and 11th and stuff like that. Okay. What I've seen with most nerds, they just stay at home, they grind, they get like 99.5 and stuff like that, but they don't know how to enjoy their lives. They're always stuck up doing one thing, studies, and a lot of them don't know things beyond studies.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are not good with social interactions and stuff like that.
You think that's an important skill, social
So,
interaction? Very
social,
important.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't have social interaction, there's no point in like learning what you have. Like you can't. Okay, if you have like zero social interaction, you can't even showcase the kind of abilities you have to anyone, right? So what's the point of gaining those abilities?
Yeah.
Sure, maybe personal satisfaction, but I don't think personal satisfaction is the sole motivator for a lot of people. Yeah.
How do you sort of strike the balance between getting deep into this and sort of enjoying yourself?
Um, okay, first thing, you gotta realize how much. A lot of people they don't realize how much time they waste. Like people will be looking at stories on Instagram and stuff like that. They don't realize that they actually have a lot of time in their lives.
Have you learned this too?
Yeah. So instead of looking at say Instagram or just looking at some certain reels or something like that, you could cut down on that time and you could spend it outside like I'm doing right now. I mean, I'm done with all my work, I'm free, but I was only done with all my work because I learned to manage my time. So like,
Yeah. So I'm just
in
trying to
summary,
get
time management,
I'm
yeah.
just trying to get some productivity tips out of you.
Mhm.
How do you sort of, because it's something that I've struggled with. I'm sure so many people have struggled with
Yeah,
for
yeah.
most of their lives, still struggling, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you sort of, because right now I think with what you do, it's about balancing studies and this. How do you sort of balance that? Were you successful in balancing that? Do you consider yourself to be successful in balancing that?
I still feel like I could have balanced it a bit better. But yeah, considering the kind of circumstance I was in, because I was bad at time management as well. I wanted someone to tell me how to be productive.
Correct.
So my main goal, okay, I've seen a few people who say they have a lot of free time and then they earn a lot of marks, right? And you're just like, does this guy have natural talent?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's not.
Yeah.
You need to work hard as well. They just know how to manage their time better. Okay, you see, say for example, you see a person hanging out at night every single day, even during exam times. What do you think they do in the morning? It's not like they go outside and stuff like that, right? They probably study or something like that. So that's how you set a balance. Now, the way I did it is a bit different. I actually created a to-do list, kind of.
Okay.
A to-do list. So I have all the list of activities that I need to do, and I assign certain points to each activity based on how long it'll take, how difficult it is, and stuff like that. So in the beginning, you will realize how less work you can get done, and if you're really true to yourself and stuff like that, you'll want to kind of get more points in that. The reason I assigned a point system to this is because I wanted to make it like a game.
It's like a reward system.
Yeah, a reward system
Okay,
basically.
so if you do enough things in a day,
Exactly.
you get a reward.
Uh huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's actually a very good point because I also used to do this a lot, and that one of the big problems that I face is I had no sort of punishment if I didn't complete that list. So if I had 5 things to do and didn't do any of those 5 things, I had nothing to blame. I just had to blame myself, and I just moved on. I didn't do anything about it.
See that blame. When you blame yourself and you just move on, right? There's a short period where you feel guilty that you did not do things.
Right.
That guilt is what drives me. Of course, it could be different for everyone. I'm not saying they have to follow that, but I never, punish myself. That guilt itself is a punishment. I had so much time in the day, but I only got this much work done, and you feel like what a waste, right? So the next day, this is again my case. Next day I say, you know what? Today I'll try to finish more points than before. I'll try to make myself proud. So, in the process of making yourself proud, you end up doing more work. And that's when you realize where you're wasting time. For me, I found out that I'm wasting time, watching Instagram and stuff like that. I found out that sometimes I don't even do anything. Like, I have 3 social media accounts and I just keep switching between the 3 just to see if I have messages and stuff like that. I realized all of that, I should just stop and I should work on what I really want. Again, figuring out what I really want is also an important part because.
Yeah, how do you do that? I think that's.
uh,
How did you figure out what you want?
I figured out what I wanted because I like creation a lot. I like creating things. Even when I was a kid, I liked, even now actually, I like writing books and stuff like that, like novels. So I always had this thing for creating things, right? And in
Is that
ninth
because you want to solve a problem, or is that because you just want to leave a mark and want people to recognize your work?
maybe not solely recognition. It's like a half thing. I want to create something that
Solve problems.
solve. It could solve problems. It could maybe fascinate people. And in the case of novels, fascinate people, right? With a good story, say. In the case of AI, it could be solve problems, or bring something new in the technology, right? Something revolutionary. Like I've got a few ideas. Of course, can't mention them on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what you have. I hope you
Yeah.
get success in it.
So that's how you figure it out. I like creating things, and I realized, if I code, my creations kind of come to life. People can genuinely use my creations, and like for example, I created an ambulance vehicle detector. Not ambulance, emergency vehicle. So basically, it uses computer vision to detect an emergency vehicle, anything.
Okay.
It's mainly supposed to detect the siren on top of the emergency vehicle because you can clearly see that, right? That's what distinguishes it from the other vehicles. So if these emergency vehicles are stuck in traffic, I mean, we're in Bangalore, you see a lot of traffic here and there, um, and there's a red light, that ambulance can't move, that police vehicle can't move. And these are emergency services. There'll be people in times of need, right? Every second matters. So what my thing does is it's supposed to override the traffic signal. So if an emergency vehicle is stuck in traffic, and if it's on a red signal, it automatically switches the other intersecting signals to red, and then it gives free flow for the ambulance. So it turns the red signal to green one.
Okay.
That's what it does. Creations like those. Again, it helps people, and it's something I would be proud of as well.
When you die, is that what you want people to remember you as? Well, that's his work, right? That's what he created. I mean, I'm asking very psychological.
It's fine. It's fine. Honestly, I don't think about what people think of me when I die. I just want to see myself like when I'm alive. I just want to see people use whatever I've made and kind of benefit out of it. That's my main goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had a son who was like, again, I'm gonna circle back to the same thing. If you had a son who was like 12, 13 and he came to you and he said that I want to do something in life, I want to create, would you suggest this? Would you suggest what you're doing, AI development, web development?
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
So my question is basically, is it for everyone?
No, it's definitely not for everyone. Again, if you don't have patience, if you don't have patience, then definitely no. If you don't have much logical thinking, of course, like you need to be able to analyze deeply. If you can't do that, again, not your thing. If you can't break down a big problem into small tasks, not your thing. But that's the case with a lot of fields. Other than that, I feel like AI is actually decent. Oh, also you need to be pretty persistent with what you're doing. You can't just give up in the middle. Because if you do that,
most people's problem.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people like generally they start with. Have you heard of Java?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of Java, right? Generally, people start with Java and they're like, "What is this language? I can't even understand anything," and they just give up. You can't do that. So if you have to really, really love the subject if you want to continue.
Let's say someone had these qualities. Like, give me a step-by-step procedure on how to. Let's say, so there's the 12, 13-year-old kid and he's very ambitious, and now he thinks that he has this qualities and he's interested in AI development. Can you give me like a step-by-step process to at least teach where you are at?
Okay, the first thing you want to do is first look at the AI terminologies, like again the domains, right? This is pretty much what we were taught in school. After that, you want to deep dive into.
Can you give me some domains, like examples?
Like again, computer vision. There's NLP, natural language processing. There is data science and all of that, right? After that, you want to go in depth. The way I did it was a bit different. I don't know if it's conventional or unconventional, but it worked out for me. I have this passion for creation, right? So I wanted to create something. Now I looked at, so for example, in the case of my emergency vehicle detector, I'm just taking that case because I already talked about it, right? In that case, I looked at it, okay, fine. what are the things that you want? You want your computer to be able to analyze pixels within an image. You want it to be able to process those pixels. You want it to be able to detect, like sirens are generally red. This is just an example, this is not what I used. Sirens are generally red. You want it to detect a red siren. So like that, you just keep on going and you break down the problem. And once you break down the problem, you see, okay, fine, you think about it. You think about what you need in order to solve the problem. In my case, I needed this, okay, fine, there's this library called CV2. It's for computer vision. I needed that. And I needed some certain features within that, right? So I went ahead and explored. I'm like, can this library do this function? Can
What
it
is
do
a
that
library?
function?
I'm sorry I'm asking you like 5 year old.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Libraries are just. Wait, I was about to say libraries are packages, but you'll ask me what packages are.
No, okay, okay. What are packages?
Okay, okay, wait. Just think of it as some person, some really great person, wrote a detailed block of code already.
Okay.
Do you know what functions are?
In maths,
No. Okay, fine. This is computer science again. Okay, fine. Some person wrote like a detailed code for a certain task. Say, I'll give you a simple task: addition,
Okay.
right? There's
Some
some,
person
yeah,
wrote-
some person wrote, a code
Okay.
that adds two numbers. And now, assume a lot of people find adding two numbers very tedious, right?
yeah.
It's not the case, but assume.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to do? You want to use this guy's code. This guy's code is a one line. You can just implement his code in a single line.
Okay.
So you can kind of import what he made is a library. If okay, yeah, he made a task simple, right? And that task will be you can perform that task using a certain name called a function, a certain
Okay. I think it's,
a certain keyword, a certain keyword.
So a library is basically a predefined function, right?
Yeah, it's predefined.
It's like okay, so in maths also we learned that function is like it's this input and output thing. So it's a set thing. So f of x is equal to 2x. So whatever number you put, it
That's
doubles
kinda
that.
how it works,
That's
yeah.
exactly. Okay, now it's starting to make a lot more sense. So then, what makes codes? It's like a lot of these functions you make into codes, or how does that work? Are functions and codes?
Functions, you use functions a lot. Even the basic print statement, that's a function.
Okay.
So obviously you have to keep on using functions to write your code and stuff like that. And if you want to, go to the very root level, it's zeros and ones, everyone knows that.
Yeah. Yeah,
But no one really needs to know all of that stuff. You
okay,
can
so
just,
let's get back to the this
Yeah.
Yeah, where were we? We were in. Where were we? Where
I don't know, we deviated.
we were in. Yeah, so you're talking about libraries, and then I asked you what the meaning of library is.
That's pretty much it. It's just like a series of predefined codes.
Okay.
Oh, that seems so simple now to tell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Predefined code.
Yeah.
So how do you start learning all that? Like
Again, it depends. You want to make something. If you want to make something, you realize you have to, you have a certain task that you want to complete, and you find out a certain code. You just Google it. This is why you just have to go around and Google and search. Stack Overflow is really good to do that.
Was it stack?
Stack Overflow.
Stack.
Yeah. Quite a lot of people know about this, to be honest. So you can just search that, and you can search for these libraries or certain functions within those libraries that do the task that you want in order to solve your problem, and you can just use them accordingly.
What is the languages like? Are you supposed to? What is the order of languages you're supposed to learn? First Java.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people say Java first, but in my experience, I'd say Python first.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there is reasoning behind it. Okay, fine. Python is like, it's like the English in programming languages. It's very, very simple. You can almost read the code and realize what happens, right? So Python kind of develops your love for the programming language. You'll understand how the programming language works. You'll understand how to program certain things. And then after that, once you're done with Python, you kind of got the hang of coding, right?
How long does it take to learn?
That depends from person to person. I do. I actually took. I took I think a year.
A year. Okay.
Yeah, it took a long time, but
How many
that's.
hours did you take? Hours. Let's talk about hours.
I honestly don't know. I never counted. It depends. A few days I'd work like 5 hours straight. Few days I'd just do 1 hour and get done with
So a
it.
year you learn that.
Yeah. It normally does not take that long. People have definitely learned it in a month. I learned Java in a month. But in order to get proficient with coding itself, it's not about learning Python, it's more about understanding how code works and developing good apps, right? If you want to make something work fast, if you want to write efficient code, it'll take you that long. Um, it can actually take you less time as well if you do it in a shortcut way. Again, I like creation, so I just created my own thing. If you want, you can go online, you can get some certain prompts. There's lead code problems, there's code jam problems. They're basically like certain prompts. They're like questions. They tell you to solve a certain problem, and you have to solve it using code. So you can do that. You can get pretty efficient with that. So it shouldn't take you an entire year. A year was a lot for me. Not really proud of that. But maybe 6 months or
On average.
yeah.
Okay, now let's get to the most interesting question. How much money is there in, how much money is possible in web development? How much money can you make if you're really good at it?
I don't know about web development. I'm not in that field.
Yeah, sorry. AI.
Yeah.
I still don't know the one word like, what do I call it?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to call it AI.
Yeah. Just call it AI.
Okay,
That's
so
it.
how much money is there to be made in AI?
I can't tell you like
maximum range.
I can't tell you like a gross income of how much it will be because I've never done my research on that.
Yeah.
On a personal level, again, I can't really I only what do you say look at how much companies offer you, right? I've not really looked at how much I can make as an entrepreneur. That depends on person.
That's variable.
Exactly. So for companies at least, if you've done your masters, oh yeah, first thing, if you're choosing AI, you definitely do need to do masters. Bachelors, you're not going to learn anything.
Okay, so is a college degree necessary then?
Oh, wait. I might have overstated that.
Okay, take it back.
Bachelor's is necessary. It's very important, but you don't learn the deeper concepts that companies want to use, that companies really pay for.
Okay.
So generally, if you do a master's, this is in USA. I've not checked for India. I'm going abroad, so yeah. After masters, if like you take 10 or 15 years after masters, right? People tend to earn mid six figures. At least as of today's market,
Yeah.
it is liable to change in the future. It might reduce. Most probably it will reduce because everyone knows
Because
the market.
AI, because
Yeah.
because of AI.
Okay. A lot of people know about AI right now. A lot of people want to become proficient in AI. So supply and demand. If a lot of people work towards, becoming AI enthusiasts and stuff like that, you just have a lot of people who are willing to do the same, hard work. Something that's considered hard right now won't be as hard later. So companies will be paying less. They'll realize that people are willing to, take less money and work for certain fields. So they just do that. It might reduce in the future. It might even increase. Who knows?
So would you rather say with all the skills that you've learned, work for some company and then build your career the normal way, or sort of build projects in the side, build other stuff in the side, and then sell it to other companies? Basically, the entrepreneur. If you learn the skill, which is a more lucrative option monetarily?
Depends. Entrepreneurship wise, yes,
Like Mark Zuckerberg types.
Yeah,
Is
but
that-
things again, you need really good ideas for that. You need a lot of skills. You need to be able to know how to market your things. A company is always this. This is even over here. The general case applies. If you work in a company, it's the safest route and low risk, low reward. Like you don't get as much reward as entrepreneurship, right? But the thing is, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you need to have good ideas. You need to, obviously, I think you'll know this more than me, but like you need to be able to face your failures a lot.
Yeah.
You'll be dealing with that a lot. Even when I made my projects and stuff like that for these national competitions and stuff like that, Oh my god, I used to train my models like throughout the night. My computer was also not that good, so it needed a lot of processing. Like it took a lot of time to process some stuff, train my models and all of that. So I used to set it overnight, and in the morning I used to see that something went wrong. We didn't train properly, and I used to go again, do it again the same night. I did that multiple times. So it can be tedious. You have to be able to deal with that as well. You need patience, you need persistence.
I think failure is like the most important lesson. I think, like, I really believe in this quote. It's very cliched, but like, I believe in the quote that says, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Makes you stronger. I think failures, in that sense, they're the biggest. They make you who you are. Right? You don't learn anything from winning. You don't learn anything from victory. You only learn from failures. And the strongest men in the world, mentally and physically, the strongest men in the world, I believe, have faced the most failures. So I think that way, yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Failureism, of course, but people tend to use that as
As an excuse?
Yeah, they might use that as an excuse to be like, yeah, you know what, I failed, and
Yeah.
it's all right, people fail and stuff like that. What's important is after you fail, exactly, you learn. If you don't learn after you fail, then no, failing victory is definitely better.
What is your biggest failure? Personally, what is your biggest failure?
My biggest failure.
If you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest failure is in academics, weirdly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I can't think of AI exactly because my progress in AI has been kind of consistent. I've never really failed. Like, of course, there will be failures where things don't work, but I wouldn't consider them like big failures. They're all small failures that I've faced a repeated number of times. If you're talking about really big failures, like some stuff that have broken me down, um, it's basically in 11th, no, maybe, yeah, 11th end, like before all these national competitions, everything. So during that time, regardless of how much I studied, I was not able to get good marks.
Okay.
Uh,
Very common problem.
yeah, eleventh grade, everyone faces it. So, but that kind of set me back because I wasn't gonna take lower marks or anything. Like I wasn't gonna deal with that. I wasn't gonna um, just be like, okay, yeah, everyone suffers lower marks. I might be, part of the crowd. I wanted to stay consistent with my grades. Um, that was one part of the failure, but the main thing is, even though I was doing bad in my academics and stuff like that, I wasn't achieving anything. Like personally, I was achieving a lot of things in terms of AI, and as I told you, all small failures, right? But if you're talking about something large, like say national recognitions and rankings, really good rankings, hackathons, and all of that, I never had any of those. And I'd already been like 1 year into coding that time, and I was like, what's the point of doing all of that if I'm not getting anything?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
led
I
to
think that it's important to balance it.
Yeah.
You seem to have figured that out pretty quickly. You spoke about a very good technique, which I think I'll implement later. That point system, they call it point system.
Yeah, reward system.
Yeah.
It's actually something like I told this to my brother this one time, and he told me it's something that companies themselves use to increase productivity in employees. And I thought, wow, that came naturally to me.
Yeah, I think that means you're meant for greater things, man.
Maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a very psychological question again. I like my whole point of this is I wanna like deep dive into your mind and how you think.
Yeah.
What is your end goal in life? What is your like the deathbed goal?
Travel, adventure. It's not anything related to AI. If you're talking about life goals, it's purely to like go around, explore, and yeah, that's actually pretty much my end goal. And yeah, to stay happy or like in that excited state all the time.
So like you didn't mention anything about getting rich. They're not your.
In order to do all of that, I need to get rich. If I want to travel, I need to get rich. If I want to adventure, I need to get rich. Happiness? Oh well, yeah. I might be sounding materialistic for this, but yeah.
I think absolutely there's nothing to be
Exactly.
Obviously, money does. Absolutely, right? That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for all of these, yeah, I need to get rich regardless. But okay, here's one thing that I've always thought about. You look at some of the richest of people. You look at Bill Gates, you look at Ambani and stuff like that. Uh, they're all hugely rich. Everyone wants to be like them. But if you really look into their lives, they're busy as hell. They have no free time to do like anything. Or in my perspective, at least, they look like they have no free time to do anything. You look at Steve Jobs, like when he was in his last few years, he said, "What's the point of making all this money when I couldn't even, live it out and stuff like that." Bill Gates, same thing. Of course, nothing's happened to Bill Gates, but he said the same thing. So I don't believe in getting rich. I believe in getting rich enough to have all these experiences, to have all the adventures I want, to travel all I want. And if I get to that level, I don't need to be richer. I don't need to work. I don't need to do anything.
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
Because I've heard, I forgot who said it, but it was a very famous personality. He said, after a point of money that you make, no matter how much of it, you don't count your money then. After that point, I think he said around 20K a month, if I'm not wrong, dollars. He said after 20K a month, it doesn't really matter because you can literally buy anything that you want if you're making more than 20K a month. So then money doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I think it's so. Yeah, I think we all should reach a point where we don't worry about money. I think that should be an end goal. So
Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna end this whole thing by asking you: is there any questions you would like to ask? Why do you choose to do a podcast?
I just thought it'd be nice to speak on a public stage. I've done it before, but I like practicing. I've seen a lot of TED Talks, right? I want to be able to speak like them. They are some of the most ideal presenters, according to me. And they can present the information really well. They can convince an audience, a huge audience. And
Is that a necessary skill? I feel like when they portray AI and people who sort of get into coding and all that, they portray someone who's very nerdy, glasses, sits in his mom's basement, doesn't really have communication skills. But when I look at you, I look at the opposite. You tell me that these skills, along with whatever you do, you need to have a certain amount of communication and aptitude. So that's very necessary. Is that true?
it's half. Okay, fine. There are the mom basement nerdy kind of people.
Yeah.
Those are the people that you don't see in the limelight usually. They're in the back doing all the work. Like they're probably the top people in the company, but you've never really heard of them.
Yeah.
They make a decent amount of money, but and they take a lot of workload, but they never get to one of those bigger managerial positions. God. Yeah, we'll cut that out. Managerial positions and all of that, and they don't get into VP positions and all of that. So if you wanted to get into these higher positions that come into limelight that people talk about, you definitely need communication skills. Without communication skills, you can't show people that you actually have certain talent, or you can be of benefit to them. So that's really important. I'd say not every AI person is the nerdy type. A few are not. The people who are not, I feel like they'd be the ones who succeed more.
The ones who are not.
The ones who are not the nerdy type.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ones who are not married that would succeed more because of that extra sort of communication and aptitude that makes them stand out.
The main point of doing that is to be able to convince a crowd that you're worthy of doing something great. That's what I like in TED Talks. That's what I want to practice over here. That's what I want to practice when I go on public stages anywhere, presenting to jury members.
Yeah.
If I can get that right, I believe I can convince a large audience of anything. Even when I'm an entrepreneur, I can convince them that my idea is really beneficial to them. And if I do that, I can get funds. If I convince the higher ups in a company that I can work really well, I have potential, they'll promote me, or I can get better jobs somewhere else like that. So if I can master that skill, it's a very important skill. If I can master it, well, that's another step for my success.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm gonna say it again. I really hope that you get all the success that you get. that you wish for in the future. I don't think this is the last time we're doing this. I feel like I've just sort of peeked into your mind. There's a lot more of deep diving that I want to do. Thank you so much for coming. Do you have any questions for me?
Not really. No, I've never really thought about anything.
How did you like? Was this experience good? It was the first time doing a podcast. How did you feel?
Yeah, it was my first time doing a podcast, and
It felt like an interview, or it felt like a conversation.
it felt more like a conversation.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. I mean, I don't want it to be like an I'm not an interviewer.
Yeah.
You know, the whole, I mean, it's just I'll make sure that it looks like a conversation.
Yeah. It was actually pretty similar to stage speaking.
Really.
Somewhat. I mean, okay, I don't have stage fright. So for me, it'll be similar when I'm presenting something, right? I tend to not mug up lines and go. I just go on the flow, and I try to, make conversations with the audience. That's how I want my stage performances to be.
Yes.
Stage performances, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for coming, Abhijeet.
Yeah. Glad to be here, man.
Thanks, bro. Can we just clap to end it?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.